So what we're going to cover in this video is what social learning is and some of the theory behind it, the distinct aspects of the greater than learning platform it relates to, and how this approach to learning can help us have a positive impact on the world around us. The outcomes we've designed for in this lesson are to support you in developing a basic understanding of what social learning is, how it is relevant to the platform, and how it can help you to close the ethical intent to action gap and have a positive impact through the work you do. Now onto some of the basics. Essentially, social learning is learning from and with other people. This might be in a lesson you do on here in the Greater Than Learning platform, interacting with community members in the forums, or through observing people do an activity in an interactive workshop on this platform. It might also be through observing a colleague completing a task in your professional context. So there are a few theoretical underpinnings of this. One, observation. From a young age, we learn from those around us. While learning does not only come from your social environment, it is a large part of how we learn as humans. We model and we mimic, imitating the behavior of others. There is some neurological basis in this. The discovery of what are called mirror neurons has lent more scientific weight to this social cognitive theory of learning. A mirror neuron is essentially one that fires both when someone does an action and when that person observes that behavior in others. This may have some evolutionary advantages, particularly around knowledge transference and things like empathy, being able to recognize emotions in other people. It works particularly when the behavior you want to model is seen as rewarding or beneficial, thus connecting to the reward centers in the brain. Two, mediation. So this process is mediated. People don't automatically adopt the behavior of others. There are some thought processes involved prior to imitating a behavior. So the mechanism is actually mediated. So there are four distinct processes at work here. First, attention. This is where we notice a behavior or action in others and deem it as appropriate or important. We don't mimic all the behaviors we see modeled in our environment and are selective in what we choose to imitate. Two, retention. Being able to do a behavior later that was observed is dependent on memory. Most social learning in this sense is delayed, and even if things are practiced immediately after, it takes some time to bed in and be encoded in memory and the nervous system. Third, reproduction. The ability to perform a behavior has constraints. If we think back to the BJ Fogg behavior model, the 5 primary factors of ability are important to doing a behavior. If I want you to redesign a legal agreement and you watch me do it and got involved in an interactive workshop, that ability dimension is crucial. Lastly, motivation. The positive and negative consequences of doing a behavior is factored in before someone would actually imitate it. This will be considered by observing a behavior before it is imitated. If you see a behavior that you decide is going to bring you reward or benefits, you're much more likely to imitate it. So that's some of the basics. And now, how is this relevant to our platform, Greater Than Learning? Social learning is essential to the model we are using in a variety of ways. One, it's part of the lesson structure and the distinct activities like the practical component and sharing steps. It's also relevant to the community forums we learn through in relating new models, methods, and techniques to our lived experience and then applying them in our professional context. It's also part of the community challenges where you'll engage and work with and from your peers. And lastly, in the interactive workshops where you might be watching an instructor going through a process or model, then get involved in an activity with other community members during and or after this workshop. So how is this going to help us close the gap? By learning better together, we can support one another in transferring what we learn into our professional lives. All the collective wisdom of the community compounds as people learn, do, adapt, and improve. This can positively contribute to the work we all do in designing products and services to make people's lives and the world we live in better.